This is All the Mods 10, where the main goal of the mod pack is completing the All the Mods Star, which isn't the easiest to craft. It has taken 16 videos to complete, but I want to do something no one has done before. So over the last 3 months, I created 1 million All the Mod Stars. I really have no idea where to start, because to craft the ATM Star, we needed all of these items. However, you can't automate it that way, because there's certain items that just have to be made manually. So the only way to fully automate is with a complete new recipe. And it doesn't look too complicated. You just need an infused Patrick Star, which is made with infused Dragon's Breath, enchanted books, the different types of alloy, the Patrick Star, and then ATM Star shards. However, these only come from the Star EV, and you can only get that by clicking a Patrick B with an ATM Star block. But then to feed the guy requires yet another ATM Star. So I'm gonna have to craft 17 more of these. And thankfully we do have the resources, which is an absolute crazy amount. Example, 4.4 million redstone, 2.9 million charged Certus quartz, and 321k Certus quartz. And that's not even including everything else we need. So let's start that, and some ingredients can be found. Try again. There we go, that'll work. Buggy system. I just hope once all of this crafts, it doesn't glitch at the end here. Oh, we'll have to craft the Patrick Star first. Okay, let's cancel this, because unfortunately, we need to select the recipe first. So we'll need to craft 17 Patrick Stars. And can we time accelerate this? Oh yeah, we can. So now I should be able to select the star and start the 17 of these. And while we wait for that, we'll need to work on the Patrick Bee, which you can only get through fishing in a warm ocean, which is probably the most boring thing in Minecraft. So let's make sure we're giving ourselves the best odds. And I'm not actually sure if the fishing rod really matters, but I want to make the awakened one. Just so one, we don't have to worry about durability, but then there's also 2 augment slots. So let's just add all of our essence in, and that will give us our premium rod. Now it's time for the enchant books. And we can actually only craft up to Luck of the Sea 3, requiring experience in lapis. And we'll need 48 for the highest amount and 192. So get that in there, and then 92 plus our 1 book. And after combining them all together, we'll have the max tier Luck of the Sea. Now for lure. Level 7 is the highest, requiring 48 cod and another 192 essence. And then we'll just chuck them into our enchantment library. Oh, I guess we had a bunch of books in there already. Because this way we can throw them onto the same book and it won't affect the levels. Now I just kind of want to look through our gems to see if anything increases fishing speed or rare drops. It looks like this is the only one that would work. Plus 2 levels on all existing enchants. It would make our fishing rod that much better, but I don't have any. And trying to find this gem specifically is gonna be a whole big process. So maybe if we can find one throughout the video, I'll throw it on, but I'm not gonna keep my hopes up. I think this is a warm ocean. Lukewarm. Does that mean a warm one will be close? One way to find out, 3,400 blocks away. So not quite this one. That's probably it right there. Nope, that's Lush Stacks. Here it is. So I'll just build a little platform for myself with a waystone so we can quickly teleport around. What the heck is that? That's not terrifying at all. Kind of cool though. Anyways, back to fishing. I hope it doesn't take too long to find our first bee. I don't think it will because, oh, there it is. Hi. And, oh, he wants to attack me. Oh, he's happy now. Okay. I'll need a bee cage. Come here, buddy. We need you, but I'm also gonna need multiple of you. Hi. I don't think this is gonna be as difficult as I thought. And I'm very happy about that because we're gonna need an unbelievable amount of those bees. Actually, I wonder, Can I mob swap the Patrick bee? No, we can't. Well, it was worth a shot. That'd be a little OP if we could do that. I guess the only thing left to do is create my 2 blocks and grab 2 bees, which we can convert one over to the starry bee, which can then be thrown in to our hive with the star block in there. So if I time accelerate you, we'll get our first starry combs. Oh, and we forgot to upgrade this. So let's take you back out and give you all the upgrades, and we'll get our first shards. We'll also get another star shards. Well, I guess we get to craft more stars. I don't know if we need them though, but these are actually going up at a pretty fast rate. So what else do we require? We'll need an infused Patrick star, corrupty dust, this dust, still not too sure how to pronounce that, the lens, and then all the different star fragments. How do we craft you? The soul binding crystal will get us the top piece, and then the top right is with the whirlwind prism. So I imagine the sea prism will make something, and the terra stomp prism. And yes, they will. So how to make smelter? We can do it in another automatic Hibiscus forge with arcane crystal blocks, coal, and blaze powder. And we do have all of that. But there's 3 different type of liquids we need. We already have the blood, but the liquid souls and the aurel are made in a runic crucible, requiring unrefined liquid souls and liquefied source with the soul itself. And even though it doesn't really give us a proper recipe for the source, all I need is the source condenser, which I can then take down into our R's area. And if I throw it right here, we got ourselves liquefied source. I'll probably end up moving that at some point. Now for the unrefined liquid soul. We'll need a fluid extractor and then some soul tree logs. The extractor is easy enough, but the soul tree sapling, you can only get that from the queen bee with pollen trades. So I guess I'll have to go into that dimension. So if I grab our ender pearls, I believe if I come to our beehive out front and just right click, teleporting to the bumble zone. Here we are. Tell me I have pollen in here. Yeah, I got some. So with our explorer's compass, if I search the Roan pillar, it'll give us the location of the queen bee. And it's honestly not that far away. We just need to get out of this cave. Let's just break our way out. Oh, what is this room? Oh, what? Honeycomb web. Oh, I'm stuck in it. Whoa, what are you? Don't be hostile. Don't be hostile. Behemoth. Fitting. But we're out of the cave. Oh my gosh. What is this biome? This is so cool. This is honestly beautiful. Okay, don't get distracted. Find this throne. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you all mad at me? Holy bees. Is it because I got honey on me? You can have it back. Nope, you still seem angry. Okay, let's just get to where we need to go. They're all mad. Here it is. You're not mad at me, are you? No, you're happy. For once. Okay, Queen, what do I need to do for you? I cannot tell what you're asking for. I can't see that. Oh, of course I got mining fatigue in here. Is this what you're looking for? Yeah, it is. I'm gonna have to break this, aren't I? I don't even know if this is possible. Hi, you dropped me something. Brown fused quartz glass. No idea what that is. Oh, it changed. Wait, is that not a quest? I can just give the pollen. So let me come back to our tree area and grab a ton of pollen. I don't know if it has to be regular pollen or if any type works. I suppose there's only one way to find out, because you just keep dropping me dust. Oh, I got something. Soul tree sapling. Maybe I can get a few more. Brown ember. Okay, I haven't got a single other soul sapling. I think I just got very lucky. And I forgot we really only needed one, because if we bone meal it, I can grab the log and then obviously get a few more saplings. But with our lumber bees, I can just throw that in and get a ton of logs. And I think I'll throw our fluid extractors down in this room here, just behind this wall. And it's done. And the whole setup behind me is the exact same to what we got going on here for our latex. So nothing new. However, for something new, it is now time to make the liquid soul. We got the liquefied source, got the soul, and we have the unrefined. So now we just need a runic crucible, which we'll have to make in our Hephaestus forge with 2 dust, 2 arcane cores, an enchanting apparatus, 2 Z-Logic controllers, a quantum injector, and finally in the center, our polished darkstone. Give me you. And I don't know how big this structure is, so we'll throw it right here. Grab our configurator, and oh, that's not too bad. Where do I want to build this? Maybe I'll do it up here, just off in this corner. We can always move these things around, as we really don't need them anymore, I hope. And then that'll leave us some extra room for any future machines, which will let us just go ahead and start building the full structure. I wonder, can I put this in my offhand? And yeah, that's what I'm looking for. This makes it so much easier. And then this should be the final piece. Shape valid, status active. But we're gonna need 2 fluid inputs, an item input, and then a fluid output, which can go on any one of these green blocks. I think I'll put the input over here and the item back here with the full output here. And then just an importer and a couple exporters. And then all we need to do is select the recipe. And I want to say it should just start. We got the souls going in, the unrefined liquid, and the source. Oh, but we got no source actually in here. Why is that? Ah, okay. That's because we don't have it going into our system. That should work now. So if we head back upstairs, this should automatically be crafting. Go recipes, active liquid souls. Please do the thing. You haven't made any liquid souls. There's unrefined. Do I need to right click you? Oh, no. We need the upgrades in here. So I'll need to make a few attuned arcane crystals, which means I need the Areal, liquid souls, blood, and XP. I think we have all that except the Areal, which we won't be able to do. So we'll just have to use our forge here. I think I'll just make a few of those, as we are going to need a ton of them. How much does this take to craft? 3,200. Oh, and these provide 2,000, I want to say. Oh no, they provide 2,000 altogether. We'll just need a couple more. So we got 3,500, requires 3,200. Let's do it. You get the liquefied source, you get the unrefined liquid souls. Why aren't you crafting? Oh, I'm so stupid. We need an energy input. Okay, let me craft you. And I'll just throw you right here. And that will make our system start to work. So we now have everything we need. Actually, we might not have this. No, we don't. Just some source and water with a little bit of dust, which means after we build the crucible, we can go ahead and craft our Areal. Oh, but we're already out of source. I think our liquid souls is taking too much for what we're making. So a very quick solution would just be throw down a ton more of these, and then hopefully this source doesn't run out. If it does, we might have to look into some other options. And of course, that's a problem. Are we able to craft one more star? Yes, we are. Okay, let's do that. Which means I should just be able to place down the gem blocks, 4 unobtainium source jars, and our ATM star. In the middle, I think we need a little bit more source. So let's speed you up, and then also speed you up. Now you should be full, and that's still not enough. Do these actually have to be placed down? Oh no, they just have to be full of source. So now we can give this a try. And here it goes. And I'll just replace you with that. Meaning this whole setup is useless. And hopefully that'll fix our issue. There we go, now it's working. Over 102 buckets of Areal already. Meaning we can now start on the prisms using an automatic Hephaestus forge, which we'll need 5 of, 1 for each different type of prism. And then the soul binding crystal. And now my only question is, how big are these machines? Ah, pretty big. So this area won't work for it. So I think I'll just throw it in this little corner right here. There we go. All I should have to do is throw in our recipes, make sure the correct one is selected, meaning now we should be able to autocraft everything except the soul binding crystal. And that's because it requires corrupted souls and enchanted souls. And the enchanted is made in a runic crucible with liquefied souls, liquid aureole, a soul, and a holy hand grenade, which is made with a golden nugget, catalyzing glands, TNT, and glowing water, which we can just create a recipe for. So I'll need to build another one of these structures, except instead of building this block by block, I want to make the copy paste gadget. It's very cheap. And if you just shift right click on a bottom block and then you come up to a top one, right click on that. Then if I open the settings menu, I can then switch over to paste. And then if I get it into position, anchor it right there, and then just double check we got it in the right spot. And then with all the blocks in the inventory, I should just be able to right click. There we go, that's better. So give me the enchanted soul. Now all we have is the corrupted, which requires corrupty dust, trapped soul, which comes from the lunar monstrosity, but the corrupty dust. That will need obsidian steel ingots done in yet another runic crucible using steel, crushed obsidian, liquid souls, and liquid source. Select our recipe, another one of these, and then the recipe for corrupt souls. Not forgetting our runic attuned arcane crystals, and then we can just change our lunar monstrosity to the trapped souls. So now we should be able to autocraft the soul binding crystal, meaning the only other thing for the star. Oh wait, no, we need to still craft the corrupty dust. Let's make that pattern. And now we only need 2 more pieces, the infused Patrick star and the lens. Well, I guess we still need to create the star fragments, which is done in a runic star altar made with loot bags from the lunar monstrosity, which I have been saving from previous episodes. And if I'm correct, we're gonna need 5 of these because there's 5 different fragments that we need to craft. The only question is, how big is this structure? Oh, that's a big one. I think we're gonna need a different area, and I have just the place. Gonna be deep under our base, and I believe this is it. We'll just have to get rid of a few of these shriekers, some of the skull catalysts, and the sensors. And I actually want to take a few of these. Let's carefully destroy the screamers first. And here comes a warden. But something cool I actually found out in the live stream. If I take off all my armor, I can just let him attack me. And I'm perfectly fine. Anyways, you're getting slightly annoying there, bud. This is gonna be a lot more work than I thought. Wait, no, what am I doing? I don't need to clear out this area. We have the whole mining dimension we can use, which will allow us to put every machine we need. We'll just need to make sure the area is chunk loaded. So let's just start placing them down. Yep, that's perfect. Wait, no, again, I only need to build one of these, copy it, and paste. Oh, well, that definitely didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. There's one for every single piece. Now all I have to do is add in the patterns. Then it's just the star and the lens, which requires a diamond sword and a sharpness 5 book, which can be made using ours. Just 2 quartz blocks, 2 lapis blocks, and 2 diamonds. Oh, but we need the sharpness 4 book. Oh, we could use a runic enchanter. We have everything we need for that, just the supremium enchanting base. We'll need to make a bunch of different enchantments for. You know what? That should be okay. And I think I'm gonna need, I wanna say 5 of these, but I might just make a few more. So we should just build the first one. And these actually aren't echoing shells. They're soul-touched skulk and soul-touched deep shells. Oh wait, no, that is an echoing one. I guess it requires both. Anyways, though, a little copy-paste action. I can't even begin to tell you how nice this copy-paste gadget is. It's gonna make this episode so much easier. And we should be ready to make the patterns that'll get us all the way to the sharpness book. But one thing I do have to mention about these enchanters is they don't actually have any sides for input or output that are easily accessible. You actually have to go down underneath the machine and replace some of these blocks. which can actually make piping this pretty simple, as we don't have to worry about any random pipes just sticking up out of the ground. We can kind of just place them wherever we want. Then it's just the routers to pull out of the output hatch and go right back into the pattern provider, which now should allow us to craft the sharpness book and leaves us with the lens. We're gonna need atomic reconstructors and then just a regular lens. We'll make the pattern for that. And then we just need to place down 3 automatic reconstructors with an advanced dropper, dropping right in front of the reconstructor. And then if I come around the back, I'll place a pattern provider under that, and then an advanced item collector collecting the next stage. However, it won't let us drag the lens in from the JEI, so I'll have to give the reconstructor power first, drop it down. From there, we can place the item collector and whitelist the lens. And those can just get left on the whole time. Then it's the exact same thing for the other 2, just going up different tiers. Then with that set up, it's just making a pattern for each different lens and then making sure it's connected to our system. Meaning now, all we have left is the infused Patrick Star, which requires ATM Star shards, which we have generating here, vibranium allthemodium alloy, unobtainium allthemodium alloy, and unobtainium vibranium alloy, which we have fully completed. However, I might change it to the block variant because that would be a lot easier, but that's just a simple swap. So that just leaves the infused dragon's breath, the mending enchanting book, and again, the star. And I think I'll go with the mending books. We'll need another runic enchanter, a supremium book, experience rod, and lapis. How do we get the rod? Just solarium, energetic alloy, and more solarium. Now I'm just gonna take this entire book setup here and duplicate it on the other side. Just like that. Then we just need to create the pattern for the mending book. Not forgetting to change this to until primary crafting result is returned. And that actually needs to be done on every single one of these forges. But anyways, now all we need to do is make sure the autocraft works. And that's perfect. We are getting so close. All we have left is the infused dragon's breath, because we already have the Patrick Star autocrafting, but I could get it from a bee. I'll think about that. But for the infused dragon's breath, we'll just need 1 more runic enchanter, source XP, and the breath, which we have over 1 million of thanks to our hostile neural network setup. So we'll just have to build the enchanter. However, one thing I was actually told on a live stream is if I come to my wireless access point, I can actually put the copy paste gadget through here and it'll pull automatically from our system. So I don't need any of these blocks on me anymore. And if I clear out all the conflicting blocks, I can just place it in. That is a very helpful tip that I didn't know before. Thankfully, we only placed down this many structures so far, because there's a long way to go if we want to get to 1 million. And thankfully, we only need about 384 EU of upgrades. So that's just 1 attuned arcane crystal. And after doing all our configurations, I should be able to craft all our infused dragon's breath, which means we can now craft the infused Patrick Star. Of course, after placing another one of these in. And then the recipe is going to take 1,920 EUT. So we'll need 4 crystals in there, starting up the crafting of the full infused Patrick Star. Just make sure all 4 books will go in, because sometimes it only creates a space for 2. And actually thinking about it, I'm going to give this guy all the treats, and then I'm going to throw the Patrick Bean here, because we are going to need a lot of regular Patrick Stars. And crafting it this way just takes too much time. The bees are much faster. And now I can go ahead and switch this recipe over to this guy, making sure to take out this recipe and to take out this one as well, because this will have to be changed to the new one. I really hope after selecting 5, we should have no problem crafting it. Perfect. However, this is going a little bit slow. So the only way to fix that is by either building a lot more of these, a lot more of these, and a lot more of all this. Or we can automate the attuned crystals, which would be done through another Hephaestus forge, but we're missing the sentient ender. As we're missing the filled souls, which can be made in a runic enchanter. We'll just need a broken witch spawner, which can be made from any spawner, and the vial. Let me grab that and come back to our nether fortress where we have a lot of witches spawning. Pop one of those into a vial, and I believe we have a lot of spawners in here. Oh yes, and I want to say I can just use you to make the spawner. Vial, broken spawner. Vial, broken spawner. Would you please do your thing? I guess not. So I'll just use the enchanter for it. I'll just need a witch egg. So I'll need your DNA and some chicken feed. Lay me an egg, please, buddy. And I'll just take over this enchanter for now. Actually, no. We'll just place another one of these down. We are going to need them anyway to fully automate the vials, but for now, we can just use it for the spawner. Only needing one crystal, throw both items in. This one takes a little longer to craft, but it will still work. And I believe for the filled vial, it won't actually consume the spawner. So the pattern will just need an empty soul vial and a soul, and then I believe it can just throw in this spawner. After this is changed over, of course. Let's give this a try. I just don't know if it's gonna put the spawner into the output. No, it doesn't. So that'll work great. Now we just need the pattern for the sentient ender, but I don't want the vial as the main output. So I'm gonna cycle the outputs, flipping it around, which will just throw into our soul binder. And then we just need to configure the bottom to be input output. And then I believe this should be the last Hephaestus forge I need to build. And if I'm correct, this needs all 4 sources of liquid. And then we just need to find our recipe that'll only use 1 crystal. And after we configure our modular router, I should now be able to make hundreds. Oh wait, no, we need skeleton skulls. Well, that's a pretty easy fix. Let's try that again. There we go. Then with that going, one thing I can actually do is throw in a few more crystals, and then that will bring the efficiency up to 107. But as you notice, every single time one of these things finish, the efficiency will go up to 1, but then it won't go above that, because every time this thing pauses, it loses all efficiency. But there is one way to stop that, and that's with the overdrive module. It will only allow this machine to craft 1 recipe, but that's why we have a whole bunch of different forges. We're just gonna need some electrum fine wire, which is made in a wire mill out of electrum wire. And I think I'm gonna use the electric version because I don't wanna deal with the whole steam situation. And thanks to this guy right here, even though we haven't done a single thing with modern industrialization, we can get ourselves the analog circuits and the motors for just a couple emeralds each. If you're doing modern industrialization, use this guy. It'll save you so much time. So right now I'm gonna get as many of these as possible, which only ends up being 12, and then as many of these. And all we need is the tin cable and the basic machine hall, which also requires tin cable. So let's take a look at that. We'll need rubber sheets, which I can also get from trading our villager, and then tin wire, which can only be made in a wire mill. Can I really not use the forging hammer? No. Oh, that's a problem. So I guess we do need the steel one. We'll just need some fluid pipe, which we can get all the pieces for from our forge. And then it's just the steel machine, which is just steel plates and a steel gear. Give me that. But this does require steam to operate. So I'm gonna need this boiler, which means we just need some bronze plates, some fire clay bricks, which I believe we can craft right now, but then the bronze tank. Oh, just some more plates and glass. Then we'll just need to take some of the pipes we made. And if we come down to our system, I'm just gonna temporarily set this up. I should now be able to connect up the water. And if I add in some coal, we will slowly start to make some steam. And then I wanna say these cables will just connect somehow. Maybe can I just put this right beside it? Oh yeah, that'll put the steam in. And then I'm actually just gonna finish off the electric version. Just give me these plates and you can do your thing, which will allow us to make our cables. And then now it's just the hull. And the only thing we're missing is the 2 redstone batteries, which require a few more tin cables, redstone, and then battery alloy, which needs a compressor. But to even make the ingot, we'll need an alloy smelter, which just uses lead and a new kind of ingot. How do we get you? just through straight ore. So hopefully our digital miner will be able to find it. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so what does the alloy smelter need? We'll need just cable, another hull, analog circuits, tin rotors, which we can make all those pieces once again in here. And then we need magnetic copper nickel, which is made in a polarizer with the non-magnetic version, which is made in a wire mill with the plates made from nickel dust and copper dust in a mixer, which we can make. Oh wait, need the batteries. I guess we'll use the steel alloy smelter once again. Just Ivar plates, which is made out of Ivar dust, and that's iron and nickel. So after crafting, we'll just smelt that and quickly turn them into the plates, which now gives us our steel alloy smelter, which we can just swap out the wire mill for and just make ourselves battery alloy and put through a compressor. This mod requires too many machines. There's the bronze and now the steel. Thankfully, this compressor can not only be used for the plate, but also the curved platings. So that should be the batteries, which will then allow us to make our electric machines. And I'm certainly upgrading all of them, except for the alloy smelter, because it requires the purple nickel. I have no idea how to pronounce that, which means we need to make the dust in our mixer. Oh, and we could put upgrades in this as well. Please tell me our attuned crystals will work. I don't see why not. Oh, well, that's already done. I'm sure we'll end up finding out later. So let's make this into the wire using plates, just needing to smelt the dust. Where did our compressor go? Oh, I just never made it into the electric one. But this one requires pistons, which are very simple. Thank you very much. And I will throw in our crystals and the ingots. And that'll bring the efficiency up to 576 over time. Then the plates can become wire. We'll just need the polarizer. But they need inductors. It's just copper wire and a steel rod. Done. Please use power. Yes. Charge those up. Finally making what I hope to be our last machine. So now we can make the electrified wire using electrum plates that just go through the wire mill twice. Okay, what next? We need silicon plate, which by no shock is a silicon ingot through the compressor, which can be made using a block of silicon through an unpacker. Yet another machine. Can this please be simple? Thank you. I don't think I have any brain capacity left. Thankfully, we have 45,000 silicon blocks that can just be made right to ingots and the transistors. And it's just these two last pieces, this one being nice and simple, which we can only hope this one is also electrum cable, very simple, analog circuits. Oh, thank you. You know, I really need to automate these machines like that. However, there is one more thing I want to do, and that's replace this guy. Because currently he's just in a manual trader, but I want him in the auto trader. Because if I throw this guy down and switch him on over, I can select which trade I want. And that would be rubber. And if I make an import-export bus, I can then place that on the bottom, importing some emeralds, and then the rubber will get automatically exported. However, there is a limited amount a trader can do a day. That's why I have it set up on the auto trader. So I'll need 2 more of those, allowing me to do the motors and the analog circuits, meaning I can now make the overdrive module. Then I can throw that in to the forges, the star altar, and all our enchanters. So if I auto craft the stars, the efficiency will go up, and once it runs out, never go back down. And that allows me to throw in the all the mod star and put this number up to 1 million. Submit. And it says you are most definitely short on items. I wonder which ones that is. Calculating. Please wait. I don't think it'll be able to handle that. I think what we're gonna have to do is keep a stocked amount of each one of these items in our system. And just to keep things going, I think we'll do 100 of each one. But it seems like we're getting very short on arcane crystals. And I did remember to put the upgrades on them. So that just means I'm gonna need some more. But this room here is now completely full of bees. So I'll need to make a whole new section. I hope all of these are more than enough. So I think I'll put it down the right side and we'll fill up all 3 of them. And if I remember correctly, you guys need the crystal blocks. So you should now produce a ton of the comb, and from there, pull it and the pollen into the modular router, send the comb to the interface, and the pollen to the garbage. Then we'll need to make an area outputting all the comb into our centrifuges. So let's get the arcane in there, and then speed your upgrades. And as you can see, it's automatically being taken out. That'll definitely solve our crystal issue, but there is one more problem I noticed, and that's the ATM star fragments. But these are all perfectly fine. The main issue are actually our shards. Thankfully, earlier in the episode, we got ourselves a ton of Patrick bees. We will just need to make some more blocks, but that really shouldn't be a problem. But while we wait, we can transform this guy, giving him the treats. And then I want to transfer the one we have in this hive over here. So now we'll have 2 bees going. And after we time accelerate that and automatically pipe the comb in, we'll be making the shards twice as fast, which means even more bees, meaning even more shards. So we just need to keep doing this for a while. Actually, no. Something else I could do while I wait is make this creative energy cell. I'll need 4 nitro energy cells and 1 star. So I got the 4 of them right here. So when this finishes crafting, I'll have to sneak the star in with these. And that only needs 2.1 billion. I thought that would be more expensive. And the reason this is needed is because all of these gates on here quickly drain our power supply when it's running. So if I actually take this, remove one of those gates, actually place it right there, unlimited power, and we should never have any more power issues. And I think I'll add a few more of these rods. But now with that done, I should now be able to craft up an absolute ton more of stars, meaning a lot more blocks and a lot more bees. But I don't want to keep manually crafting the stars, so I'm gonna have to readjust this here. I won't need this listed as a pattern anymore, but I don't want to get rid of it either. So what I could do is if I dig down, I could place down a bunch of modular routers with individual chests on top of each one. And as long as I have 9 of them, 1 for each item of the star, I should then be able to pull out of these chests and then feed them all into the input. And seeing as each one is their own item, we don't need to set a whitelist, but we will need to configure these exporters to each individual item. Then we just connect them all up. Wait, why isn't it feeding the Patrick stars? You are set to the infused one, but nothing's going in. Maybe because we don't have any. Oh, because you're stuck on the vibranium alloy, because I did change the recipe to the block version. Now just back to waiting on shards. So that's 5 more of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 unalived. So besides the fragments, what else would be slowing us down? Infused dragon's breath. Nope, we got almost 100 of that. Mending books? Possibly. Let's make sure we got a stock of these. I'm gonna say 20. So that's not the issue. Vibranium alvamadium alloy? No, because you are stocked. Actually, I want to say it's probably this, because the craft requires 9 billion FE, and we're just not inputting it fast enough with these rods, but they are the highest tier. So this whole area needs to be bigger. I don't really have a place for that inside our base. So let's make something right back here. Actually, no, let's create a room right here. I think this should be enough, because now if I try to autocraft one, this should go a whole lot faster. Oh yes, very much so. And if I need, I can also remove these last layers and drop these cables down and have energy going in from the sides as well. But it has been a bit of time So we should have a lot of stars. Only 250? But we have 56k shards here. Why do we have no infused? Experience essence. Well, I didn't expect that. At least it's a simple fix. Let's go ahead and plant down 10 more, and hopefully that'll build up pretty quick. Oh, you thought I was serious? No. I made a whole new area of just experience seeds, which is giving us quite a bit. However, experience essence isn't our only problem. We are starting to run very low on insanium, which is what crafts all of our other essence, which is responsible for all of our books. Thankfully, there is an insanium spawn egg, which obviously requires a ton of its own essence, and we need all the previous tiers. Thankfully, I don't have to do it the normal way, because we already have a ton of perfect bees, and we can just throw in some gene sample upgrades. And we'll just speed you up, and whenever it shows up, they'll automatically be taken over here and combined together. So I need an egg. So throw that in there with that, and there is our spawn egg, which we will now upgrade. Thank you very much. And if I was smart, I would have made 5 of those, but we're kind of out of room, as I've said before. However, I don't think we need the awakened supremium bees anymore, as that was only really used for recipes for the original ATM star, which we just don't need. So I'll take you out and then just spawn you in. Here, bud. And here is your new home. Make me some comb. Oh wait, I need one of you. There we go. There's our comb. Now it just needs to make sure you're pulling out, and that'll start climbing back up. But these mending books are still really slowing us down. I think I should just force pump everything into here. Then do the exact same with all the different tiers, just like I've done with the Patrick Star and the ATM Star. Yeah, let's do it. Because once they're all done, we'll be able to truly see what we are short on. And in most cases, it's actually experience essence right now. So I'm gonna have to duplicate this over here. There we go. Now, essence isn't your limiting factor anymore. Actually, well, it is. Just a different kind. I really thought the machine setups were gonna be our limiting factor, but surprisingly not. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make every type of bee for the original essence. But there is one thing to keep in mind. Each kind of essence actually has their own drop rate and amount that can be dropped. So that's just something we're gonna have to keep an eye on when we're figuring out how many bees we need. And seeing as you've seen me craft a whole bunch of eggs before, I'm just gonna throw the bees in now, as those obviously drop the most. Then I'm gonna go ahead, throw 5 Imperium in here and another 5 in there. Then for tertium, we're gonna do 4 hives worth. Seems it's only 4 at 50% chance. Then for Imperium, at a 50% chance, 4 to 8, we'll only need to do 2 hives. Supremium, on the other hand, that's a little more rare. So I think I'm gonna do 8 hives. And after tick accelerating all the different kinds, what 400k? Wait, no, I forgot all the stuff getting harvested is no longer being crafted. But 88k, 44k, almost 10k, and 3,000 supremium. How much do you want to bet we're low on experience essence now? Yep, what a surprise. But that might be okay, as long as we're crafting these books at a very fast rate. Still not fast enough for me. So I'm just gonna multiply this as many times as I need, along with our bees, until books are no longer a problem. Yes, we did it. Come on, tell me you're not stop crafting. Infused dragon's breath. You are low. Why is that? We had dragon breath? Nope, still got 1.2 million of that. So what's going on with you? Oh, we're out of source, which means every single one of our machines is down. Okay, well, at least this is somewhat of an easy fix. Just need more of these things. And actually, these are the creative jars. So I think I can actually just place that there, and then I can pick up all of these, and that should feed to all of them. Actually, I'm just gonna move that one more up. And I actually have this whole area cleared out now because we're getting all this essence from bees. So let's grab a few more condensers. And I wonder, can I drop this floor down? Yeah, it will work. Okay, that's fine. And then right in the middle here, I'll put the jar, then just one more row at the back here. And we'll have to take this roof off. And if I attach 4 to each row of cables and put anchors in between, sorry, I meant 5 on this side and then 4 on that side. It says we got too many channels, but I believe once I put this down, that message goes away. So we just got to do the same thing for all of these. Now just to hide these cables, and I hope that fixed the issue. Really? That still wasn't enough? I'm not messing around anymore. This was pain, but we're still not done yet because we have to connect all of these wireless connectors, but we have a problem. Our computer back here doesn't have enough controllers. And then I don't want to deal with setting up one of these for every single wireless connector, because for some reason, even if I put another wireless connector over here and then do the same thing on this side, the whole system freaks out. So I don't want to deal with this anymore. So building a whole new system is kind of the idea I have. But then Drag, it's not going to go into your normal system. Just wait, I have a plan for that. And if I grab some cables, an ME interface, and then make a storage bus, if I place that up here, then this storage bus, along with you, if I connect this to another one of these quantum links, and then on the other side to our regular system, if I go ahead and place down this external drive with a fluid storage in there, and then I just throw a crafting terminal on, allowing us to access the system. If I connect a bunch of these wireless connectors and then come underneath our source generating area, pair it up, those will drain out and get stored in here. But as you see, it was already getting drained out, and that's because of this wireless storage. If I remove that, it'll just continuously build up. And even though with these 2 wireless routers, each one having 32 channels, if I come up to the wireless interface, it only uses 1 channel. So I could get rid of all these quantum rings if I wanted to. But anyways, I hope after connecting all of these up, we will have way more than enough source. So how are our Patrick stars going? The books are filling up almost instantly, but we're running low on the shards. So I think it might be time to finish filling up this hallway and then the 2 up here as well. Done. However, I did a little more than I mentioned, and we built the whole B section alongside all our star things. We got some tertium, some imperium, even more supremium, then some blood bees, because we started running out of that, some crystalline bees for some quartz, and then a ton of experience bees. 3 rows of it to be exact, but then I still needed somewhere to process, which is down here. Oh, and then on that side as well. I have a feeling I'm gonna need to build some more. And so now with 2.1 million ATM star shards, we have a new issue. We're out of corrupt souls because we're out of regular souls. Meaning this is gonna have to be expanded, but one thing I wanna try first is seeing if I can put fortune and efficiency on the soul extractor. No, well that sucks. That would have been great. So I'll need a new area. I think right here is where I'm gonna do it because I can put down the block placer, show my area, then we'll expand it as much as it allows. Oh, that goes somewhere we don't want. Yeah, that's perfect. Then we'll just expand it out a little bit, and then every single one of these blocks will need a clicker above it, because these extractors take 45 ticks to extract 1 soul from a piece of soul sand, meaning we're gonna need 726 of these clickers. And you might say, Drag, use the machine settings copier. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for this hold click part. It'll set all this stuff up here, but nothing else. Which means for now, I'm only gonna set up half of what I originally intended, and then the block breakers are gonna go right up here, maxing out the range, and then we're just gonna have to lower it down to the soul sand, making sure it's only gonna do the soulless soul sand with an unbreaking shovel. Then it's just a lot of the eternal soul extractors. Yeah, we definitely don't need any more. I think we're covered. And that now leads us to our next problem. We're out of liquid or real. So I think I'm gonna take down these 5 altars and replace them with the runic crucibles, but I'm not actually sure if 5 of these will be enough. But let's get the water going, the source, and the arcane dust. Not forgetting our crystals and our overdrive module. And no, it's not. So let's build a couple more. That'll be enough. However, we have one last major issue, and that's to do with lag. As you can see here, these particles are lagging behind dramatically, which means our crafting of the infused stars and the ATM stars and every other component is being slowed down. And majority of that probably has to do with these modular routers, because every time it grabs a comb from here, it has to transport it to one of our interfaces, which, as you can see, creates a beam of particles. And with our setup being this big, with thousands upon thousands of bees, it creates a bit of lag. So I was told use this factory manager. Not only can it move items around, but apparently can provide power to all our machines and then allow us to get rid of some of these cables if we so choose. And the recipe for this is super cheap. Then we just need the label gun, a factory manager programming disk, and inventory cables. And the cables for how we're going to be setting this up need to touch the bottom of the beehive, but also the top, with each row being connected to our factory manager, where I'll then need to take the programming disk and then install our code, helpfully given to us by Lux Unum, edited by Dumb American and myself. Then we just need to go ahead, throw it into here. It'll start running. However, we'll need to shift right click our factory. So when we right click the air, we have all our available containers. And I want to select the hives first. And then if I hit control and right click, any hive connected to these blocks should automatically be added. Bro, that looks sick. We have 3,255 hives. Dang, that's a lot of bees. But anyways, now we need to do the expansion boxes, because if we want to put these upgrades in, those need to be selected individually. Because if we take a look at the hive alone, it doesn't actually have any upgrade slots. That's provided with the expansion box. But then I need somewhere to put these items. And again, it has to be attached to the cable blocks. And inside there, I'm going to put 2 stack upgrades along with a advanced void upgrade, only allowing the pollen puffs to be destroyed. Needing to set that to our chest, as the factory will take from our hive and output to the chest. Then just move the combs to the centrifuge, meaning we'll need to select all of these as well. But one other nice thing is I can actually go ahead and remove all the power off of these, because if I come over to one of our creative cells, I can select our battery. Oh, wait, this isn't a chest. And now we can add those. What? How does this work? Oh, wait, I'm kind of dumb. I need to have the battery touching the cable, and then I can select our power. Come on, be right. Okay, I'm just lost now. But one other thing I can do while I figure that out is remove all these speedier upgrades, because I didn't realize I could put Omega upgrades in there and it would do everything all at once. And while replacing those, I realize I'm just stupid, because if I hold shift on the label gun, it tells me I will need to push right click a factory manager to push the labels. So once everything is selected, I then need to right click this to confirm it all, and then it'll start moving everything around. So let's just finish the setup first. So after all the blocks are done in the centrifuge, I'm gonna need an interface to send everything to, and then a fluid garbage can for the honey. And then I'm gonna have to take the fluid storage and also select that onto our interface, because that part will take all our XP and all the blood and move it directly in. Because with this system, you need to select the combs and then the fluids as separate, which only leaves us with the barrel. And that's gonna be for our upgrades and our bees. So now I believe I have everything selected. I should now just be able to right click on that to just make sure it's working. Perfect. However, I do wonder, is 20 ticks the lowest we can go? Let's try changing the fluid input down to 5. Okay, no, minimum trigger interval is 20 ticks. Worth checking out. But now all of these should be getting pulled out by our manager, meaning I should be able to destroy all of these routers. And if I time accelerate one of these, everything should get taken out. I do wish that was a little quicker though. Oh wait, it's because I forgot to replace all of these. Then one other thing I noticed, supplying directly to the interface doesn't actually work. It doesn't register it as an inventory to put items in. So I need to create a chest with a whole bunch of importers on it. But one thing I am noticing when these do finally finish, sometimes the items sit for a little too long, or it takes some time for items to be pulled out of the hive, and there is a simple fix for that. We can just come back into our factory manager, and on the bit that pulls from the hives, we can change this to redstone pulse. And if I make myself this timer, I can put it down facing into the factory manager, and then I could bring this down to 2. And by this graph here, you can see it's going a lot faster pulsing the hives. And that's helped our lag a little bit. And I'm sure by replacing this with the simulation hydroflick beds, these things would help with our lag a lot more. However, I won't bore you with that. And I'm just gonna start putting the upgrades into our hives and then our bees as well, which we can use our factory for. As I have the input for the bee cages pulling out of the barrel, and then same for the upgrades. So this should be almost instant. Oh my God. And then just to double check that it went in the right slot. Yes, it did. Oh, this is making my life so much easier. Then we just need to grab some starry bees from our automatic bee thing, which takes the starry bee genes and automatically combines them with eggs, giving us a stack of amazing starry bees. And I haven't actually tested this part yet, so I don't know if it's gonna work. Please. Oh, it did. I think it did. I think it did. I think it did. I just don't know which one it went into. Not in that one. Where are my bees? Oh, okay, I found it. That's gonna be a problem. So let's try replacing this with this, because now it should limit 5 to every single hive. If I go ahead and throw these in, I really hope that works. Only one way to find out. Why is there an extra 5 in here? It didn't fill all of them. So you know what? I'm just gonna fill it this way. Bro, I just keep running into more issues. We have so much comb stored in here. And the reason isn't because we don't have enough centrifuges. It's actually because I've stopped it. Because I had to set up a second network, as the main one was getting overrun by all the bees we have, transporting in all the comb, and then pulling it out and putting it into our system. So that's on its own network now. But the distribution, the fluid input, and the item input is all on the same. Which means when these get super busy, problems start. And a lot of our fluid ends up getting voided because it can't actually take it out fast enough when multiple of the centrifuges are going, meaning we're running low on our blood and our XP. So I believe I'm gonna have to set up yet another network, with this one solely being used for fluids, which I'm going to have going into the pattern provider and the interface. I don't know if both of those can accept fluids. I know one of them can for sure. Then we just need to define our centrifuges and push. We will need to set up a redstone pulse though. Now, all of these should be empty, and we're only 83k stars in, but we are out of infused Patrick stars because we are out of vibranium aluminium alloy, which is made in this guy. For some reason, not crafting. Really? Out of nether stars. Blaze won't be an issue. That'll catch up now that this is back online. And there's also a simple solution for the stars. Just throw this pattern into the quantum crafter, and we'll have over 100 million nether stars. There we go. But I'm really gonna have to make another one of these setups that I'll have to put on a subnet. However, it can't be this one, as this ties into our main system. So I'm just gonna set up a smaller one right here. And then from there, we just put the energizing orb down, make sure we throw our chest, our pattern provider, and our wireless connector. Then the cables just span out 5 because the energizing rods can distribute power 4 blocks out from the orb. Then we just come down 1 layer, build another one, and repeat going all the way down. And as long as this works, all I should have to do is throw a stock export bus there and a storage bus here, connecting both of these to our other system. Oh, nope, that didn't like it. It's because it connected to the controller here. Disconnect that. And now we should be able to connect it up here. There we go. Because we're going to put the vibranium blocks here, Piglinch, vibranium, and our 2 times nitrocrystal block. And I want to keep 10 of each in the system at all times, but 20 of the Piglinch. And thinking about it, we don't need a storage bus because I don't need to access this system from our main terminal. However, I will need a importer taking all of our alloy, putting it back into the main system. Then I just need to take a requester. And if I plop that down there, we want to request 20 of these. So that'll go at all times. Actually, no, that's wrong. We'll need the interface here connected to our main system with a anchor there, exporter going into that, with the 2 cables connecting it to this system, and that will export all the alloy, which means this should go constantly, and we now have a new problem. And that would be the unobtainium all-the-modium alloy made with ours. So we'll just copy this and put it down right here. Then we just need to come into this section, increase our Piglinch hearts to 40, our all-the-modium to 20, as 2 Piglinch heart blocks and 1 vibranium is required in this entire recipe. Then we just need to add in all the other blocks, setting them to 10. Then export the alloy and request 20. Also not forgetting to add the co-processing units and the crafting storage, or both of these can't run at the same time. So that should solve this issue, and that leaves us with 10.1% of this quest done. But that's going up at a very quick rate, and our limiting factor is once again the blood, which means a lot more bees. Oh wait, no, we don't have to do bees. Oh, how did I not think of this before? Where am I going? Open the system. We got creative fluid tanks, and I think we're gonna need 5 of these. How have I not thought of this before? I can just come take a bucket of our liquefied source, a bucket of our XP, some blood, some of our Aurel, and our liquid soul. And we can just put a bucket in each one of these, giving us an infinite amount. And then I could just put storage buses on top of these. Yeah, that solved our problems. And there it goes. Oh, this is great. Meaning now I can replace all these blood bees with more of our starry bees. And then in our centrifuges, we can remove 1 speedier upgrade, the stability upgrade, put in a 2nd omega and a 2nd speed, which will give us the most efficient rates. This is amazing. Oh, and I can also get rid of this now. Goodbye, lag. And now there's just a big open pit. I still can't get over how fast this is going. Last time we looked, I think we were at 110,000 stars, but now 290K. Why did it stop? Crappy dust. That's an easy fix. We're short on the obsidian ingots because we're short on steel. So let us just plant down a few more. I don't think it's going to be much longer before we're done, because all we really have to do is keep adding bees and then fixing any other issues we might have. Just like another one of these. What the heck? That's interesting. Let's replace you. Didn't really want to copy this wall though. Actually, I wonder, would it be faster to import using the stock export bus? Oh yeah, I definitely think it is. We should be getting so many more books going now. That's the play. Just overload everything going in here. That's the most amount of books I've ever seen. Oh, come on. This still isn't fast enough. I have one last idea, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I really hope this works. A pipe pulling directly out into here through an interface. And if this doesn't work, thank you. That is genuinely perfect. You can't even see the items dropping out, meaning this interface works. So with that in mind, I think I'm gonna tear down all of these because now that we have our creative jars, we just don't need them anymore. And then we're just gonna replace them with more of our runic enchanters. Because as you can see, the supremium enchant bases is what's limiting us on these mending books. Plus having extra really isn't a bad idea. Quickly add our pipes, and then we'll set these high as we can. So I hope we're getting a good amount of books. Oh, I like that rate. We should be there in no time. Just need to keep double checking that none of our items are gonna run out. We're so close. Don't stop now. And we are officially back where it all started, from the first time we loaded into the world to finding our base location. We have now hit 1 million stars on our first playthrough of All the Mods 10. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys have enjoyed. This video has taken almost 3 months to record, so if you did enjoy, please make sure to subscribe. Also hit that like button. It'll let me know you like these kind of videos, and I might make crazier ones in the future. So again, thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed the ATM 10 series, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I have no idea what it's gonna be, but I'll see you there. Bye.